deep cover. Last I heard, he's tracking the syndicate.
Yeah, last I heard he was 3 over par.
Last I heard, sounding like someone torturing kittens.
Last I heard, my gym makes money.
I heard 5.
You heard wrong.
You heard him. Those were his last words.
Last I heard, he'd been defeated again.
Last I heard, Joe coaches women's wrestling.
POTUS is a wink?
Yeah, last I heard.
I heard that.
Last I heard, he lived around here somewhere.
Last time that I'd heard, you had,
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Last I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Lee Dempsey, with the rest of the Gridiron Gang, Travis Rankins, Josh Winch, as we take on the 2024 NFL and some collegiate season here. It's going to be a good one. First one we've had back since the draft show, I believe. I think my stuff was still all packed up as of this morning from that. So, yeah, we pulled it out. Get the dust off, and we're ready to go. And lots to talk about here. We got our pick'ems, we got our Super Bowl picks, we got division winners, all the predictions that we could possibly think of. We're going to be here today. So, with that being said, gentlemen, is there anything looming from this offseason or since the draft that you want to get off your chest? I think there's a couple. Mr. Travis over here, who's always got, rants at the ready, I want to say. I think I need to give this guy his own segment song here at this point.
I mean, for me, it's not so much this offseason or anything like that, but it's this whole Friday night game. I love that the Packers are playing on Friday night. I love that it's a marquee game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I also love that, even though it's an international game, which that's the part I do not love, is that it's not a home game for the Green Bay Packers. So we're getting the best of that. However, why are we playing in Brazil when the NFL, they've always said, oh, we're all about player safety. We love player safety, yet we want to make more games for the regular season. We want to go to 18 when it was 16. Now it's 17, but they want to go to 18. And then we're going to fly you across, well, I don't know, around the globe, below the globe. I don't know how you want to word it. But basically, a 12-hour, 11-hour flight to go to somewhere where it's not very safe from what I'm hearing. So I heard this week from, I think it was Darius Slay. He said, and A.J. Brown also, they said that basically they cannot leave the hotel. And if they do, they literally can't do anything. Like, literally, I'm talking like anything as much as walking down the street with your cell phone in your hand, because something could happen to you. And they're playing a football game here. Like, is this real life? Like, why? I don't understand it. I've heard that they told their families not to go to the game. I don't know. I've heard not so very good things about this, and the NFL is kind of trying to cover it up. But now when we're getting closer to it, they're sending out all these memos to the players like, don't do this, don't do that, you can't do this. And it's just like, player safety, my ass. Anything for the dollar. They're all just very, very greedy. And again, it just comes down to money. And again, this is just entertainment. This isn't even a real football game that we ever watch anymore. It's all just entertainment. And how much can we get from the middle class, lower class people to give to all of us elite people?
We start the season with a rant. I love it.
Don't get it.
I think it's pretty funny that they always, you mentioned it, talk about player safety, yet if you're paying attention to world news at all, Brazil is anything from safe. And I just don't get, I guess, the desire to go to these other countries to play football. If they want to come watch football, they can come to America to watch football. And I'm pretty sure the brand and the overall growth of the NFL will be absolutely fine without playing games overseas. To me, it just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. You already are packing every stadium. You're already getting so many subscribers to, Red Zone, all these other platforms that you're putting games on, Peacock, YouTube TV, whatever it is. You're getting so many people.
That?
It was $1,300 a year.
If you want to watch every game of this season, $1,300 per season, or with all the subscriptions and all of that, right?
Yep.
To make sure you don't miss
So,
a single game. Right?
Got it.
yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's absolutely wild. I'm with you. I don't get these Mexico, Brazil, shit, even the Europe games. I just don't. I like it, I guess, in Europe a little bit, but I don't. As a player, I wouldn't want it. As a fan, I'm not a huge fan of it because it takes away a home playoff game for one of the teams. Um, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to Friday Night Football because I think that's a cool aspect, but I wish they would have just played it at Lambeau.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think your rant is spot on, Travis. Well worth the rant. Yeah, and to you guys both points, like yeah, Brazil's definitely not the most safest place to do it. So yeah, that question mark is there. Why? Why even have the chance of doing it? The expanding the game out to these other countries, I also agree. It's not the most biggest need there is. There's been rumors for the last how many years that there's going to be a team in like the UK somewhere. I don't think there's any chance that happens. It's just the numbers don't add up. The way players would move around and be flown to whatever. It's like, oh, you just got done playing a game in Cincinnati. Well, you're going taking a flight straight to the UK, and hopefully you got enough practice there to make that work. And yeah, and then eight games, 8 or 9 games a year. If you don't make the playoffs, they would have to fly here. So it doesn't make any damn sense. Yeah, it just wouldn't work. And then what other sport in the world do you see people doing that anywhere? Nowhere. Like Canada is the only one that would do anything, and there hasn't even been a whisper. So
No.
why we even bring it up anymore? Right?
I don't get it. Like, I don't know if this has to do with the whole flag football going to the Olympics thing, and they're trying to just grow the game of football. But there's like other countries have their own sports too. Like, it doesn't have to be a global game.
Right.
This isn't the NBA,
Right.
so it doesn't need to be the NBA. We can grow the brand and grow the sport here locally, and for those who want to or are attracted to the sport, can watch it, come visit us, come go to a game. I mean, same thing if you wanted to go visit another country and experience another sport that we don't have. So to me, it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. It all goes back to the dollar for sure and just the global brand growth. So we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully they discontinue it, but I doubt it. I think it's only going to get more rampant.
Yeah, with that being said, I suppose I want to also give Josh the floor to talk about some collegiate football. We're wrapped up week 1 this last weekend, going into week 2 now. And Miami Hurricanes have looked outstanding so far in their first game. I saw the Heisman number 1 right now is Cam Ward, just for coming out of the rumors having it. But yeah, looked phenomenal out there, man. What you were there, boots on the ground. What was it like?
Boots on the ground, man. It was a once in a lifetime experience to watch all the Gator fans get butthurt and cry and all upset. There's no better feeling than being in their stadium and kicking their ass. I will tell you what, that was great. But no, Cam, I mean, I sent you and Brad the snap, I think it was back in January when he was deciding between going to the NFL, and he had committed to entering the draft and then withdrew and signed on with the Hurricanes. And I'd never been so excited about a quarterback prospect coming to Miami, just watching his film and seeing what he did at Washington State. He actually went into Wisconsin last year and beat them. And he's just a dynamic thrower. If you watch him, the thing I'm most impressed with, though, is how damn cool, calm, and collected the guy is. He literally looks like he's playing pickup football with a bunch of buddies in the backyard, and he's playing in front of 95,000 fans on a 100-degree day, and he's just chilling. He doesn't get rattled. His throwing motion is so smooth. He's very smart. He does a lot of film study and anticipates reads. There was 2 or 3 plays in that game. He checked to another call. He saw where they're blitzing from, audible to something else, and had high success rates on all of it. But it's been 20 years since I've seen the Hurricanes look like that. It's fun. Not only did he play well, both lines of scrimmage, up front, offense and defense, just dominant. I've not seen that push on both sides consistently, and I would argue that the Hurricanes have the best defensive line in all of college football. They're rotating 3-4 deep and all having high success rates. So just an incredible game to be at. The atmosphere was wild to start. By the third, fourth quarter, seeing fans doing a lot of there was just as exciting. And the Hurricanes started the season well. They have an opportunity to really kick some ass this season. Their schedule is favorable, and other ACC teams really faltered. Florida State's 0-2, which was the favorite for the ACC, which is funny watching them get their ass kicked by Boston College last night.
Good teams.
No.
Georgia Tech first, right?
Yeah, Georgia Tech and then Boston College. So I love that. And then we kicked Florida's ass, so we're officially the state king right now. I love that. And some other fun games. Colorado was really exciting. Travis Hunter, boy, that man is a dog, making some plays out there. There's a receiver out of Arizona. I will not pronounce his name right.
4 touchdowns?
Yeah, something like
300
that.
300 yards, 10 receptions.
He was projected as the number 1 receiver going into this year's draft, and boy, he looks scary. Yeah, he had 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Alshon Jeffrey. No, Alshon Jeffrey's a receiver. Jennings or whatever from Boise State, the running back, had 6 touchdowns. So some really good performances in week 1. But just all excited to see college football back, and a lot of big games on week 1. USC with a big win. Notre Dame setting themselves up to make a run at the college football playoff this year. So it's cool to see. It's been a while since we're talking about Texas, USC, Notre Dame, Miami. That reminds me of the early 2000s when I really got into college football, and just seeing those brands dominate. It's hopefully we get to see them come back to that, because to me that's when college football is at its best. Is when you have the big brands like that carrying and winning consistently. And for the Hurricanes, I really feel optimistic about the season. And as long as everyone stays healthy, we got a really good chance at making a run in the ACC and then hopefully the college football playoff too. But Cam, I hope he stays healthy, gives themselves a chance. And who knows, maybe those Heisman hopefuls are for real.
Now, on the flip side of that, things did stay the same watching that Badger game.
Yes. So Miami's old quarterback went to. So there's a turntable here, right? Yeah. So Mertz was Wisconsin's old quarterback, is Florida's quarterback. Miami knocked him out of the game, which I was cheering pretty fucking hard at that point. They just body slammed him, gave him concussion, knocked him out of the game. That's old school Miami. That's what I like. Hurting people, taking people's heads off. That's football to me. And anyway, he got knocked out. I was cheering hard. He's gone. TVD, old Miami quarterback in Wisconsin now, looked like himself. Boy, oh boy, he sucks. 50% completion rate. I mean, he probably should have had 4 picks in that game. Thankfully, the who are they even playing? Can't think right now.
Playing Western Michigan.
Yeah, Western Michigan can't catch on defense apparently, because they dropped 3 or 4 of them.
I mean, they were down 14-13 in the third quarter.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long season
because they got to the fourth, and then they finally were like, "All right, we'll put a touchdown together here. We'll put a touchdown together there." But it just looks like the same Magoo as always, and it's just we're gonna do enough against the bad team, and then when we play a good team, we're not gonna do anything good, and it's just. It's very sad and disappointing. I just felt like Fickle was going to be the guy to do this, and I'm not saying he's not, but it just looks like more of the same.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, their schedule is brutal this year. I would be surprised if they. I think they'll win 7 games. 7-5 would kind of be where I'd put them. 8-4 maybe. They need a quarterback badly. Van Dyke's not the answer.
We got the guy from Texas coming in next. I think he'll be next year, but
yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got Bama rolling in 2 weeks, and then they got Notre Dame, or not Notre Dame. They got Oregon. I mean, they got a tough schedule.
USC.
So, yeah.
Woo!
But no, hell of a way to start the season. There's some more big games this weekend too. Michigan, Texas headlines the big games this weekend. I like the Longhorns plus 14 in that game. They're really good. I would not be
They're
surprised if
minus 14, right?
I don't know what the line is. I'm saying I think they're going to win by 14.
Oh, I'm going Texas on that game.
Yeah.
Week 1 of college football was a good one for betting.
Yeah, you bet on the Hurricanes.
Yes. Well, dude,
it was minus 2.5.
I'm always betting against Graham Mertz, dude. If Graham Mertz is the quarterback, I'm betting against them.
I like that. I like
it's horrible. My buddy's like, I don't know. It's in the swamp. It's a tough game, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's what all the pundits were saying leading up to the game. Though I never heard like Florida's more talented, Florida's more physical. Like it was like the atmosphere is gonna be insane. You're not even gonna be able to breathe there. It's gonna be so hot. Like, you're talking about the fucking Hurricanes. It's hotter in Miami than it is in Gainesville. Okay, let's check that off. And it's like they've never fucking played an away game. And I was like, dude, they play away games every year.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because it's 90,000 versus 80,000 doesn't really make a fucking difference. I don't know if you guys heard post game, Cam Ward, they asked him about the stadium atmosphere. I love this. His answer was, it wasn't even as loud as the stadium atmosphere we were pumping in at practice. He's like, I've been to USC. I've been to Oregon. Those are way louder in the swamp. I was like, I fucking love this guy.
That's
awesome.
Oh my
God. Quiet confidence.
Yeah. I love it, man. I'm glad to see the hype around Miami and paying off.
Swags.
Yeah, I love it. All right, yeah. So we'll transition back to the NFL here. I think we can get into. Travis brought up a good question. We were talking about things to talk about on this first episode here of the season. Kind of the biggest question marks going into the season, not only for the Packers but of the Vikings as well. And Travis, I'll let you take the floor. I think your team is worth talking about more.
Wow. Okay. He's even punching his
on this fucking year. It's
Lee's giving up before the year starts.
So down on this year. It's crazy.
Hey man, you never know. Sam Darnold could fucking perform and give it. I just want him to get the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Because I do too. But you know what's gonna happen is I thought about this. I was like, Vikings are always opposite. They're always opposite. So if you have high expectations, they'll have a dog shit season. They'll not even be 500. You have low expectations, they'll be a wild card and they'll lose that first playoff game. So it's like you have almost hope you're in the playoffs and you're like, oh fuck. Like you get your ass kicked by the Giants, like it's just that over and over and over kind of thing. So yeah, that's the only optimist. I can't even say it. That's how optimistic I am right now about the season. So yeah, Travis, you take the floor, brother.
Well, I'm pretty optimistic about the Green Bay Packers 2020. I will say, not just because I'm a homer, but just because of all the things we saw last year, obviously. And that's the biggest question mark coming into this year is, can they stack that success? Can they work on that development and go from they started here, they went to here, now can they go to here and get up to that next level and make that push towards the Super Bowl? So that means are all the young guys going to develop? That means Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson. Are you going to play a full season? That's obviously probably the biggest question mark involving the Green Bay Packers is, can you play a full season or at least give us at least 13, 14 healthy games where we can count on you? So that's going to be obviously a key, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, we're 6 deep. We have Bo Melton. Can he sustain his success he had last year? I mean, he comes in, he gets a 100-yard game right away. You got Malik Heath as well. I mean, he's awesome. Like all these guys on our team would be at least, I would say, number 3 wide receivers on the other teams. So yeah, we may not have a number 1 wide receiver, but we have a bunch of number 2s or 3s, and they're all could be the number 1 at any given time. And it's not a lack of talent that they're not a number 1. It's just that we have so many guys that, yeah, we're just going to spread the ball around. But overall, can they, work on what they had last year and really ascend into that next level and finish games like against the 49ers from last year? They had that game, and obviously we had a missed kick here and there. So that could have also played a factor in it, but also Jordan Love at the end of the game just kind of try to play a little hero ball. So got to clean that up. But we didn't really see that much out of him over the stretch run last year. So obviously, can he duplicate that success? Obviously, 18 touchdowns to 1 interception to end the season. He's probably not going to do that well, but who will? He was the best in the league last year. Can he do that again? Now, I think he can. I think he's going to win the MVP this year. That's going to be my MVP pick, sneak peek at what we're about to do later on in this show. But, yeah, I just think, can they sustain and ascend from where they were at last year with the potential that they have? And I don't see why they can't, because they're so young, and they showed last year how fast they've developed and how they just get it.
What area of the team makes you most nervous?
Most nervous, I would say.
Can I answer?
Probably. Go ahead.
Special teams.
The kicker.
Besides the kicker, yes, the kicker is the number one fear.
Who do they have right now?
Glaring weakness.
I don't remember.
I don't know his first name, but his last name is Narvison. He's from the Titans. He was going to be on the practice squad, but he didn't make the practice squad because we took him. He was a rookie this year out of Western Kentucky. So he was a fifth-year guy at Western Kentucky. He went to San Diego before that.
Hopefully he can turn into like a Chris Jackie for you.
I hope he's better than that. I hope he's like Mason Crosby. That'd be good. Not to say that Chris Jackie wasn't good, but, we had a little better. But I would say, besides the special teams, the biggest area of concern, I would say, is probably just the offensive line and staying healthy. It's always a question mark. We drafted a guy in the first round this year, Jordan Morgan, to solidify that offensive line. We selected him as a right tackle, I believe, but now he's going to play guard this year. Not to say that he won't play tackle in the future, but this year he will be playing guard. But the overall health of the team, the offensive line, and making sure they stay healthy is probably the biggest concern I have.
That's what I was going to say. That or cornerback worries me a little bit.
Corner, definitely. Is Eric Stokes going to bounce back? Is he actually going to be the guy from 3 years ago? And then he got injured, and then he got injured again, and then injured again. And now he's back, and they're saying that he's looking great. So I want to see it on the field, and I want to see if that actually is true. So
yeah, we can't have a Buccaneers game again.
Right, no. Can't have that. I think. Look, I'm going to make a proclamation right now. I think the defense is going to be just as good, if not better, than our offense this year. I really believe in the defensive coordinator, and I think he's going to be very aggressive. And I think that's what this team needed all along, was aggressiveness and making plays and just not thinking as much and just fucking doing. And go trust your abilities and stop fucking thinking, oh, am I in the right spot at this time? Or, oh, my God. No, just go fucking play. Stop fucking worrying about where you're supposed to be at and go fucking hit someone. Go fucking take the ball away from someone. Go make a fucking play. Go blitz that motherfucking quarterback. Put some pressure on him. Hit a tip ball. Do fucking something. Let's go, baby. It's going to be great. And I love Halfley, and everything he said has been unbelievable. So
he's a good one.
We just got to do it on the field.
I know I texted you when they hired him, but yeah, he'll blitz. He's the type that will have like 7 guys at the line. You're not sure who's coming, who's dropping. That's his MO.
Those are fun.
He loves it. Yeah, he loves that style of defense. So yeah, I think that with the young, aggressive up front and linebacking core, he'll have a lot of fun with that group. Obviously, it's just if the quarterback's able to navigate away or they pick up the blitz, that's where, to me, I'd be a little concerned with the cornerback play. But picking up Xavier is a big pickup for them, too. That can cover a lot of those things.
And hopefully Lucas Van Ness makes a second-year jump as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Heard a lot about him, but he's a first-round pick from Iowa. And, by all accounts, he showed flashes last year. He just doesn't get the playing time and everything like that. But, again, this is what the Packers do, draft and develop. And then by year 3, we're like, oh my God, look at this guy that we drafted in the first round 2 years ago that finally is playing like a first round pick. It's great.
Lee PD,
Yeah.
tell us about the Vikes.
Don't have quite the enthusiasm that Travis has. I didn't have high hopes for this season to begin with. All right. But when you got a rookie quarterback, you're kind of just along for the ride. You're excited.
He wasn't even going to be the starter, though.
I bet in 4 weeks he was going to be. I've been saying that since they drafted him. I was like, in 4 weeks, he's probably going to start over Darnold. And I tell you what, that rookie, though, you're just optimistic about every game. Going into every game, you're like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Unless it's like there's 3 picks in one game or something crazy, you just dog shit. Yeah. But we had one preseason game for Christ's sake with him, and then the meniscus repair surgery happens, and then out for the year. So it's just like the optimism's gone. Like Darnold being in there, he is the number one question mark by far, by like a country mile. He is the Packers kicker of the Vikings, basically. Like it's what the fuck's gonna happen on every single day. I don't know. I think we're gonna win some games by him, and we're gonna lose some games by him. And for the most part, I'm just like, don't throw anybody a death pass. That's all I really want at the end of the day. You can throw a pick, but don't set up Jefferson to get his head torn off or some shit. That'll piss me off so much. So they've re-signed a bunch of guys that they need to re-sign. It's just great. I love what they did. They let older guys go. It seems like a lot of things were moving in the right direction. They're like, oh yeah, we're really just kind of weaker at corner right now. So we had a meeting with Stephon Gilmore, and that was the day of McCarthy being held out of practice that one day, just get looked at. So I was like, oh man, all signs are pointing up.
I thought it was after. They still signed him after.
They had the meeting that day, but they did sign him afterwards. They signed him like the next.
I was just wondering, why did they do that?
Just because they had money. I think at this point, that's about it. It was like they had like $20 million to spare, so they're like, fucking might as well spend 10 of it on improving a spot. Like I think it's definitely one of those cases where it's we're gonna make the best of what we can. I guess it's gonna be like the
Isn't that
2017 season with Case Keenum. Like it's just one of those where we're just gonna go out with our best ball, see what happens. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that give you a glimmer of hope though that they're optimistic like that? Maybe they think maybe we're better than they think. Maybe they're the Milwaukee Brewers of 2024, where you look at the team and you're like, ugh. And then all of a sudden you look and they're in first place the entire fucking season, and they're beating teams that you never thought they would beat.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful. I think that week 1 against the Giants, I think is going to really show the entire season probably what's going to happen. The Giants look like shit. But
it's the Giants. What's that going to tell you? If you beat them, you beat them.
Because they lost to the Giants like 2 years ago in the playoffs. And
2 years
they shouldn't have.
Last year? Did you see the Giants last year?
It doesn't mean anything. It was a bad Vikings team is what lost them the game, not a good Giants. That's what I'm saying. The team could be bad enough where they lose to a fucking bad team. That's what I'm getting at. I don't care, but really on paper, which I don't like to say that, we should destroy the Giants easily. Like this team's offense minus the absence of Kirk Cousins is better. That's the only position lacking for on offense, and which is obviously the biggest one. But on defense, significantly better. So it's one of those where I'm like, it's a double-edged sword there, where I think defense is probably going to win more games than the offense, unfortunately. Like it's just such a question mark with Darnold, where I just don't know. I don't know. It's just crazy. I've never gone into a season with so much doubt.
What is the prognosis on your all-pro tight end?
He's just going to miss like, I can't remember how many weeks. Not
3?
Insane.
3 or 4?
I think it's like 4. I think 4 is, he's on the pew, so it's 4.
Purpose. I'm only asking for fantasy football purposes.
Yeah, I gotcha. I almost did the same. I almost traded for him, but I didn't.
Is Addison good for game 1?
I think all signs pointing to he's good. I know he had a little ankle thing, but I think him and Tristan Jackson, I think, were held out of practice today just cause, like, not they didn't need to be there, kind of thing. So, but I think all signs are pointing. Yeah, he'll be starting week 1.
That's good. I'm excited to see Aaron Jones on the team this year. I think he'll have a
I am
pretty big
too.
year for the Vikings.
That's we haven't had a running back since Dalvin. And his absence last year was incredible. Incredibly.
They'll give him the workload that Travis bitched about every week last year. So.
Yeah, right.
No, they won't. Then he'll only last like 2 games. We'll give him 12 touches a game, 15 touches.
Yeah. Hey, if they split it with Ty Chandler, I'm probably cool with that. Like, I just don't want it to be all Ty Chandler.
A season for y'all.
What's that? Sorry.
I just hope he makes it through a full season for y'all.
Yeah. Otherwise, I thought that too. They had an extra spot on the roster that they had made a move for, like right after the deadline, and everyone thought, since they only have 3 running backs on the roster, they thought there was rumors that they would trade for somebody. And I think that's still a possibility that they could do that. Maybe further in the season, I will talk about a speculation I have about one team and their running back. But we'll see how that goes. I don't want to say yet because it sounds ridiculous now, but I want the signs to show it later. I'll let you know who that is.
I'll just go ahead and give my Packer prediction now, get that out of the way. I think the Packers will go 11-6 this year for all you Packer fans out there. 11-6 prognosis.
Okay.
Wow. That's lighter than I thought.
Well, I guess that kind of transition us. Yeah,
they do.
They should. That can transition us into our division winners for the AFC and NFC. And Travis, you start us out with the NFC there in the North. You want to continue with your division winners for the rest of the NFC?
Absolutely. So I got the Packers winning the NFC North. It's probably going to be a very close race between them and the Lions, and even the Bears could have some say in that. As we move to the South, I really have no competition for the Falcons. I think they're going to run away with that division. Maybe the Buccaneers might have something to say about it later on in the year, but I just don't think they have enough to compete with the Falcons. I think Kirk Cousins will help them, and Bijan Robinson will get more touches this year. In the East, I like the Eagles. I'll never pick the Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys. I think the Eagles have enough to withstand the Cowboys because what do the Cowboys have besides CeeDee Lamb? And then I got the Niners still holding off everybody in the West. I do think Arizona could be sneaky good. I think the Rams could actually be really good as well. And I'm hoping for a Cooper Kupp resurgence this year. But I still think the Niners take that division.
Lynch, would you like to go with yours?
Absolutely, sir. Travis and I are very aligned on a few of these, but we'll start with the one we're opposite on, which is the NFC North. I do think the Packers are going to have a strong season. I don't think the Bears are going to have a strong season. I'm not as big of a Caleb Williams homer as a lot of these NFL Network or people on TV are. Sure, he makes brilliant throws, but he hasn't played a meaningful snap of football in the NFL yet. And I saw him play meaningful snaps in college, and his throws were erratic. So we'll see if he can improve upon that. Anyways, I'm not a big Bears fan this season. I've also heard that Keenan Allen looks like a Mack truck, or he's been eating double hamburgers every day, all day, put on about 40 pounds.
Oh,
DJ Moore, I don't feel great about. So overall, Bears. Yep. I think the Bears will be sub 500 team this year. However, I do think the Packers and Lions is going to come down to the very end of the season, the last game of the season. I think the Lions win and ultimately win the division. Packers make the playoffs, so NFC North will have 2 representatives. And then I would switch over to, the NFC South. I'm in agreement with Travis. I do think the Falcons have a big year. They spent a lot of money and invested in their team heavily. They think this is when it all pops. Pitts, Drake, Bijan, the offense finally looks like something with Kirk. And then the defense, they've invested a ton of resources in its defense, trying to make it better than last year. Some really good veteran pickups, and I like what they've done. The weakest division on paper, when I look at it, probably is the NFC South. So I could see the Buccaneers making a push as they always have a good team, but I think the Falcons win by at least 2 games. NFC East, I differ because I think the Eagles are the best team. However, I think the Cowboys are going to win the division and do what they always do, fucking lose in the first round. Yep, it's that cycle, baby. They feel like they got to feel good about themselves, so they're going to win the division, but then they're going to fucking lose right away again. And then NFC West, no brainer, 49ers. I do think the Lions, I was going to say the Lions, the Rams, Matthew Stafford, will make the playoffs as well. And I do think the Cardinals will make the playoffs. So 3 from that division.
All right. Yeah. I'm a little mixture of both of your guys's. We don't have a spot on one for either one. North, I do have the Packers. I think they're going to take it just by the hair of their chinny chins over the Lions there. So I think it's, like you said, probably going to come down to last week. I did have the Bears also as a question mark as a potential playoff team. It's one of those where they'll probably be, one of those 8-9, 9-8. They'll just be dancing around there. It'll come down the last couple of weeks and they won't make it. For the East, I rode with Cowboys here just because I don't know what everything happened with the Eagles last year. It's kind of like, did that all get fixed? Did they all finally figure that out in the offseason magically? The team does always continuously to look better year after year with the Eagles for the last few years. So I think that is very hopeful for them. But like I said, Cowboys, I don't know. I just feel like they have more consistency over there. I know their defensive coordinator, they switched it up. They got Zimmer over there now. So there's a few former Vikings on that squad, well past their prime. But nonetheless, they know his defense very well. So I think jumping into that right away, it's going to be very similar to what you guys said about the Packers defense, Zimmer's, where you don't know kind of who's blitzing, who's going to come up. And, it's very difficult to read. Something that Rodgers always praised Zimmer for was just that unpredictability. So I think the Cowboys get the edge because of that. Explosive offense and maybe explosive defense again this year. As for the South, I got the Falcons. I think it's hard to pick that weak division with what should be an outstanding Falcons team this year. They really stand out with all those additional picks. It's that diamond in the rough in that division. So if they don't win it, then the Bucs must have been doing a lot right because no one else is going to fucking win it. And then the West, it's the layup. The 49ers are the easiest team to pick there year after year. Everyone's getting extensions and such right now. So it seems like everything's just rolling along for them. So nothing out of the blue there. Suppose we can move on to the AFC. The North, I have the Ravens picking that up. I think they just had too many things rolling. I think they figured out Lamar's really how to improve on his strengths last year. Really made him throw the ball more than running it. And look what happened. He still fucking MVP'd it. So he's an absolute dog. So, I got them still taking that. The East, I thought was interesting. I picked the Jets here. And that's just if Rodgers stays healthy. But they improved out the offensive line, which was their biggest need. Wide receivers out the wazoo. If anyone goes down, 500 more want to jump in at the drop of a hat there. The South, I got the Texans. I almost considered the Colts for a second, but with the injuries to Richardson last year, I just don't know how trustworthy he is, I guess. Seemed like he was never finishing a game, and then he finally got, out for a significant amount of time, and we're just, I don't know, not reliable enough yet for me to pick them. And then, of course, the West, picking the Chiefs because they're the goddamn Chiefs. Nothing else needs to be said. How about you?
All right, starting in the North, I have a little different story here. It's called the Bengals get back on track this year with Joe Burrow at the helm, healthy for a full season. I think the Bengals have enough. This is the hardest division in football. So it could go 3 different ways, 4 different ways even. I don't really think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have much to say about it. But they could win a game or 2 against some of these guys and really throw a wrench into a couple of these guys' seasons. So Bengals in the north. I got the south. I got the Texans. I just think they're up and coming. They're kind of like the Packers. They're basically the Packers of the AFC. A lot of young talent, a lot of young receivers, young quarterback, obviously, young coach, young defense, everything. But I like the way they're trending, and I got the Texans in the South, and mostly because I think Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence are the most overhyped pieces of shit ever as well. In the East, I got the Buffalo Bills, despite all of the losses that they have had. I think Josh Allen's going to be better for it, and he's not going to have all these damn wide receivers in his ear. They got a new offensive coordinator that I feel like is going to help him. So I do like the Bills, and I think Josh Allen's going to have a strong case for the MVP this year in doing so. And in the West, do I even need to say, I got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomes University. They're going to be there again, and they're going to go on to the Super Bowl. So it's like clockwork.
Yeah, I'll start with that. We all have the Chiefs. Shocker there. Chiefs and Niners, the ones you can just pencil in. AFC East, we all have different picks in. I went with the Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins. We all know what their offense is, but their defense is going to be legit, I feel like, this year. Jalen Phillips got hurt last year. Watkins got hurt. Their defense got pretty banged up down the line last year, and I think that really hurt them. They also picked Chop Robinson, which you'll hear more about later. I really like that pick. So I think their defensive line is going to be legit. They're going to be a track team, obviously, on offense again. So they get up on teams, and then they let that line kind of feast. And I love their multiple blitzes. We talked about that with a couple defensive coordinators. They're all about that. So I think the Dolphins pull it out this year. Texans, we're all in agreement there. Stroud's a dog. That guy, for only Ohio State quarterback that's ever been good in the NFL. And that obviously I really like D'Amico Ryans and the organization and how they've structured their drafts and building their roster. It's just doing it the right way. And then I will go with Travis on the AFC North here. So I also like the Bengals. Joey B hasn't had a healthy offseason since his rookie year. And I feel like with him, Jamar, T, they're ready to do something in Cincy this year, and their defense has always played hard. You'll get to hear more about the Bengals later on, but I like them to have a very strong season this year.
Okay, I like it. I like the very eclectic answers that we have there, especially the Bills. I think you make a good point, Travis, about the Bills. I think with Kincaid and the improvements that James Cook made last year, I think they have a really good run game that they can establish, and they can throw those short passes to Kincaid. And then basically any wide receiver is just kind of an addition with Allen's arm. So I like that pick. I like it a lot. With that being said, I suppose we got some picks for teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that we think will make it this year. We're going to do one for the NFC, one for the AFC. I will go first. I have the Chargers being one of them. I think they're going to get in there with the hardball moves. I think that defense is just going to be night and day difference there, because, defensive coordinator be their head coach, and they had the worst defense, and I don't think any other person could go in there and do worse than that. So with that being said, I got the Chargers making there. I think they're going to be impressive this year. As for the NFC, I got the Cardinals. I think with Kyler Murray being healthy in there, I think he's enough. And with the addition of Marvin Harris in there, that it's going to be explosive. I think it's going to be a really fun offense to watch. Just comes down to the health concerns of Kyler and the team around him.
In the AFC, I have the Bengals. Obviously, I have them winning the division, so they're going to get back into the playoffs, I feel like. I guess that's more of an obvious choice. But if I had to choose another one, then I guess I would go with the New York Jets as a possibility to make the playoffs. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers coming back, all that. They do have a really good defense. You can't say anything against that. So maybe if they actually have an offense that can move the ball and maybe hold the ball a little bit more and keep that defense off of the field. I think that could bode well for them. So I would like them as well. As for the NFC, I have the Falcons winning the NFC South. So I would have the Falcons being in the playoffs as well. For a wild card team, I would say maybe I'd go with the Cardinals as well. I do like what they're doing on offense. I hate Kyler Murray, but other than that, I think they have a chance to do something special. I even like that rookie running back they got, Trey Benson. I think he could supersede Connor at some point here during the season.
Should say
I like that.
there's a new Call of Duty coming out late October, so watch out. Kyler might be dog shit after that.
That's when it'll go downhill. New Call of Duty. I like that analysis there. You guys have mentioned all the teams that I mean, the Jets, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Cardinals. I like all those teams to be able to make the playoffs, and obviously the Falcons. I also had winning the division, so I think you guys have alluded to them. I just want to touch on the Chargers a little bit. Harbaugh, I think, is going to really kick some ass in the NFL. I cannot wait to see him back with the Chargers. Perfect pairing in my mind, and an organization that has needed grit and toughness, and just his persona for that city and that franchise is a perfect marriage. It reminds me a lot of Dan Campbell going to the Lions. Not that I think they'll have the success of the Lions this year, but I do think he will be able to turn that team around quickly with the talent they have there. And I'm excited for Herbert to have an actual coach to help develop him a little bit. But yeah, I like all those teams to be able to make the playoffs this year. So the Jets will be very interesting if they actually can make the playoffs. I think their defense is legit. And obviously Rodgers, this is maybe his last campaign, maybe one more after this. That would be pretty cool to be able to see them make the playoffs and see what they can do. A lot of people have high hopes for Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and they have so much talent on that team. The offensive line has always been the issue.
Yep.
So I know they invested a lot into it this offseason. So I like them to make the playoffs as well. And I think this year's playoffs are going to be exciting. The first two rounds will be very high scoring, that type of football. And when the dust settles, it'll be the same teams in the end. But those first wild card weekends will be really entertaining.
I love it. All right. So I don't know if we want to get into the end of the season awards or just jump into our Super Bowl picks.
I would
right
say
away.
Super Bowl picks, and then say your MVP and your rookies of the year.
All right. Travis, you want to start us out on your Super Bowl picks, brother?
Yeah, I mean, not to be a homer here, but I got the Packers Super Bowl this. I got the Packers playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Shocker. Not very suspenseful, I know. That's for my MVP. I have Jordan Love as the MVP. I just think I lost my train of thought here. I feel like he's just going to ascend even further than what he did over the last 10 games of last year, and it wasn't a fluke. And he's just going to continue where he left off, and he's going to be amazing, spreading the ball around. And I just feel like he has a very, very good chance to win an MVP. And then my rookie of the year would be on offense, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marv.
Love it.
As for defense, I don't really know any defensive players that much, so I can't
one.
really.
I got one.
Go with Lee's guy, Dallas Turner.
Hell yeah, brother! That's the only thing we're looking forward to this year.
That was a good pick. I like that one.
Yep. Who you got, one?
Can't convince you. I got the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Going into Arrowhead, beating them, going to Super Bowl to play the 49ers.
Okay.
And in the end, I got the 49ers winning it all. I think they've been to this mountaintop. They've seen it. They've been there. They smelled it. They're pissed off. And this is their year, really, that they'll have all this talent, probably the last ride that they do. And I know they got to take advantage of that, and I think they will. I look for Purdy to have a big year this year, playing for a contract next year. And then next year, I think they'll start unloading a lot of the older talent, the Debo, the Trent Williams, all of those guys are going to have to Kittle, look to change the roster quite dramatically. So I think they have that in the back of their head. And I think they end up winning the Super Bowl this year. So I'd like the 49ers to come out on top. Mahomes is not going to do it again. All right. And then my MVP is Mr. Joe Cool. I mentioned it earlier. I think he's primed for a huge year, full offseason of health. He's got two of the best receivers in the league. I think he's got an incredible arm, just such a gutsy player. I love watching him play. And I think he has an MVP season, takes home the trophy, gets his team to Super Bowl. As far as Rookie of the Year, I have Maserati Marv on offense. I think he's going to have a huge season. I look for him to have 10 to 12 touchdowns this year. And he will be a dynamic player in this league for a long time. For defense, I mentioned him a little earlier. For the Dolphins, Chop Robinson. I've been hearing awesome things coming out of camp. He's a defensive end from Penn State. He was very explosive. One of those kind of freak athletes. Not going to say he's Minka Parsons, but kind of has that comp of he shouldn't be this big and do things that he does. And I think given the Dolphins' offensive scheme, which is obviously score a lot of points, getting up early will give him opportunities to get some sacks, and I think he takes advantage of that. And yeah, I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah, I think so. All right, yeah. Super Bowl picks. This one was a tough one for me. I bounced around a few different options here of what I think it'll be. I don't want to say the Chiefs just to be different, but it'll probably be the Chiefs. So I picked the Ravens to come in there, just with their stacked team dynamic. Tons of different ways to play that with that team here and there. It just, I don't know. You want to run it, you want to throw it. I feel like you can do whatever the hell you want, whenever you want. They execute everything well. So, yeah, I got the Ravens taking on the 49ers. I think the NFC has just kind of been predictable for the last few years. So it's hard to go against the 49ers there. Hey, Trey. As for the MVP, I did realize that I picked a man who didn't even win his own division by my picks here, but I did pick Joe Burrow as my guy. I think, yeah, like you said, when healthy, he is just a gunslinger out there. So he's always impressive, throws up the numbers, gets touchdowns when he needs it. Curious what is going to happen with Jamar Chase, if he's going to get that extension in the coming days or not. It might just happen like day before game time or something. I don't know. It just seems like it's coming at any second here. And with that being said, I will say the rookies of the year offensively. I got Caleb Williams. I think he's I think he's gonna show it off. I didn't watch much college football last year, pretty much almost none of it. But what I did see in Badgers game against Ohio State, Maserati Marv, I wasn't too impressed. So I'm not going to say it's him just based on that, basically. Defense, I do have my boy Dallas Turner. He is going to be a bright, shining moment for this team who desperately needs some kind of win in their life this year. And that's usually how it goes. We get those individual awards and never the big one. So, yeah, I think that's my season in a nutshell there for the Vikings, is riding on that defensive rookie of the year. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that is what happens. And with that being said, gentlemen, I say we get into our pick'ems for week 1 of the National Football League. Shall we?
Let's fucking do it. What's that?
Let's go.
You gotta pay for your rights.
Yeah.
God damn, I love that.
It's
back.
That jam.
Back.
Because I forgot about it today until I pressed that button, test it. All right, I gotta get into.
I gotta get to week 1 picks here.
Yep, here we go. Open up the app. I was thinking possibly for this year, but we'd have to change the rules around a little bit if we open it up to the listeners as well. To have them in there, we could give whoever wins it. I don't know, some sort of trophy of some sort, and we'll still have our one between the three of us. But yeah, I did think about possibly just opening it up, see who gets what, just to make it a little more interesting. but we'll see. I did think about it as of today, so it's a work in progress. And
Yeah, you got 2 days before to
yep,
sign.
maybe we'll cut out your worst 2 weeks or something, and this will be one of those weeks. So getting into it here, we got the kickoff game for the season on Thursday night here. Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the Chiefs here. I think I'm going to pick them, 24.
The Ravens won the Super Bowl, but not winning this game.
Yeah, they can do that. They just started off slow, man. That's the Ravens. Start off slow. That's all. The Chiefs to win it 24-17.
Yeah, I mean, last year the Lions came out and actually beat the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. I think last year they learned. This year they know that they don't need to win week 1. However, I think they want to. So I think I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and they're going to win 27-24 on a great opening night.
God,
a lot of sloppiness, but also a lot of scoring.
Give me that first lone wolf of the year.
Oh,
that's a great Lee Corso would say. Not so fast, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Ravens in this one. I think the Chiefs don't care about the regular season. It's not something they've needed in the past. They know when and how they need to turn it on. I do think they'll play well in this game. However, I think the Ravens need it more. They want to make a statement similar to what the Lions did last year. And for that reason, I like the Ravens to win this game 28-24.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay, and that takes us into our Friday night game, the controversial one in Brazil. The Packers take on the Eagles of Philadelphia. I have the Packers winning this game. I think it's going to be fairly boring, just because it seems like all international games seem to be somewhat of a snooze fest. So I got the Packers win this one, 17-14 over the Eagles. I don't know. Just seems to be the pattern for that. Otherwise, I would think any other day, any other place, it would probably be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot of sloppiness, like I said, out of the gates, week 1 through week 4. This is preseason football. To the listeners out there, it is literally preseason football. If they tell you any differently, they're lying. This is all fucking preseason football, first of all. Second of all, it's going to be a great game either way. I think the Eagles are going to try to put on a show in Brazil. I think Jordan Love's going to come out slanging. I think he's going to have a big play right away to start the game, and I think they're not going to look back, and I think they're going to actually show some people like, what's up, this weekend right away. First fucking game, and they're going to raise eyebrows and go, wow, I guess the Packers are for real, and they're here to fucking stay. With that being said, I got the Packers winning 31-20, and that 20 comes after a garbage touchdown in the fourth quarter where the Packers are already up 30-13.
That's a big statement for them in week 1. I like the Pack too. I wanted to go lone wolf here, but I really think they're going to pull it out week 1. Not as convincing as Travis is there, but I got them winning 31-27. I think there's a little bit too much drama in the Eagles organization going on this season. I don't know if Sirianni makes it this season or gets let go after the season. I just feel like something's going on with him and Hurts and some of the receiving core there too. So we'll see if that impacts them in week 1. Either way, I think the Packers have more to prove and want to show out in this game, and I think they do. So give me them 31-27.
Right. Next game we got here, the first noon game we got posted on here. The Steelers at the Falcons here. I feel like this is almost too easy for the Falcons. The Steelers are just a team that kind of no one is batting an eyelash at. They don't impress anybody. So with that being said, I took the Falcons. I'm going to take them. I think they start off pretty slow too of the season. I'm going to go 20-13 Falcons.
I like that score.
I am in agreement. I'm not a big fan of the Steelers this year. I think this is the first year, by the way, that Tomlin is not 500. I think they're going to have a losing record. I hate Russell Wilson. I don't know if the listeners have already heard me say that about 80 times throughout the course of the last 3 or 4 seasons or whatever it's been. But I don't like Russell Wilson. With that being said, I do love Mike Tomlin, but I just don't think you're going to have it this year. You're going to have to rely too much on your defense, and it's just not going to be enough this year. And they're going to start out 0-1 right away against the Falcons going in to Atlanta, playing in that dome. I got Kirk Cousins coming out with a win, week 1, starting his Falcons debut off right.
It's noon games.
We're all in agreement.
24-16.
We're all in agreement here on the game and on the score. We're all very similar. I got the Falcons 21-17 in this game. I don't believe in the Steelers much at all this year. I am with Travis. I think this is their first losing season, and I really think highly of the Falcons. I think this is when they finally put it all together.
All right, moving on to Arizona at Buffalo. This one I actually think is going to be closer than people think. It's just Buffalo kind of getting into their new system, Arizona using their new tools. And I think I'm going to go probably another lower scoring game. I'll go 21-17.
Yeah, I think this game you're going to see a lot of that getting the kinks out type of stuff going on. Like you said, I think it might be closer than people think. And I think it's one of those games where the Bills are trying to pull away and they just keep making mistakes and make mistakes. And the Cardinals hang around and have a last second field goal and miss it. And so the Bills still win the game. The Bills win 24-23 at home to start the season off.
I like it.
I like this one to be a little higher scoring. I feel like there's going to be a lot of turnovers, a lot of chaos and touchdowns at, special teams, pick sixes, those types of things in this game. So I think it's going to be 35-31. Bills are going to win. And Josh Allen's going to have a pretty strong game. I'd say like 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, that type of game. It's his MO.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. I have the Bears, and I think this kind of will bring up the hope into, Bears fans. They're going to be like, oh my God, the future is so bright. But really it's just going to be the Titans and their new regime, their new coaching schemes. Everything is new there. The only thing is like D-Hop and Will Levis are the only ones still around. Other than that, everywhere else on the team seems to be gutted. So I think they're just going to kind of be one of the biggest question marks of the year. The Titans are just going to be, what are they? They're either going to be trash or they're going to be 500. So yeah, I don't know, just for the sake of jobs being fresh over there, hopefully they're 500, but yeah, give me the Bears. I'll go 23-13.
I'm going to take the Bears 20-17, and it's not because I love the Bears and think they're so good. So don't worry, Bear fans, go fuck yourselves. You're just playing a team that's not that great, and I don't know what to expect. So I guess on that aspect, give me the Bears to start 1-0, and y'all can think you won the Super Bowl already at 1-0. I know how it's going to work, and I'm not going to fucking hear the end of it because you guys win one game and you're over 500 for the first time in my whole life. So congratulations, Bear fans. Congrats. We're going to go with the Bears 20-17. Go fuck yourselves.
I am in agreement. I think the Titans will be fighting the Patriots for the first pick next year. I hated the firing of Mike Vrabel, and I don't even know who the fuck Brian Callahan is. But he's going to get fired in 2 years.
That Bill Callahan did?
Yeah, right. No, I don't. I have no faith in Will Levis. I think their offensive line is the worst in football. And because of that, because of that, I like the Bears to win 23-20. I don't think the Bears are good. You heard my pick earlier. I think they're below 500. So this is one of those wins.
Yeah, and that takes us to probably the biggest lock of the week here. We got the
Bengals.
New England Patriots against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. I think that's Bengals by a billion.
Bengals.
Bengals. We can move on.
No signs of life.
I might have that in the Pick'ems league.
This might be 30-3. this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah, I'm going to say 30-10.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going to go 31-10.
31-10. Okay. Next up, I think this might be a really fun game. Houston at Indianapolis against the Colts.
Game of the week.
Yeah, I think this is
Sunday
going to
game.
be the one. We had question marks last year. The Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud game were two young, hopeful quarterbacks. When playing, show very high signs. So I think this is going to be probably the first. This is probably the more high scoring game that I'm going to have. I'm going to pick the Texans here over the Colts. I will go 35-28.
Yeah, I like I said, I think this is going to be one of the games of Sunday. It's going to be a must-see TV. It's interesting to see how Anthony Richardson comes back with that injury and if he leaves where he left off last year, where it looked like he was actually going to be a player. So two young, obviously, quarterbacks going at it. It's going to be fun to watch. With that being said, I think I'm going to pick the Texans, and I think I'm picking the Texans for my circa picks for the year with me and my buddies. How we do that every week, where you pick 5 spreads, but we all pick our own, and then we have a consensus. And I think that is going to be the Texans for me Sunday. I think they're -2, and I like the Texans to win this game 30-24.
Yeah, I think this would be a fun game to watch. I really think, on another note, that Jonathan Taylor will have a pretty big year this year. If Richardson stays healthy and they run a lot of read option, JT will see some serious holes, and he's got burners. So I think he's going to have a big year. I think the Colts will rebound and have a really strong performance this year. That being said, not in this game. I think the Texans win actually pretty easily. I'm going to give them by 10. So I like 31-21 is the final score.
I like it. I like that one a lot. Next we got Jacksonville Jaguars at Miami against the Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins once again start off hot. It is just going to be throwing the ball up. A-Chain, I think, is
70
healthy too. Yeah, like they're going to be just running. Like it's just going to be a fast as hell game. And the Jaguars, I don't know. They're one of those teams too that just, I don't know. Not enough has changed since last year. You don't hear anyone going there, just people leaving. And it just seems like
Gabe Davis.
Yeah, they got Gabe Davis. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Dolphins here, probably 35-13.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins here too. I'm obviously not a Jaguar fan. Give me the Dolphins 41-24.
Woo!
Damn, you almost picked the same score I did. 42-21 I had for the Dolphins to win.
Yeah.
I think they're putting up points, baby, and then they're letting that D-line cook. The first month of the season, that's what Dolphins always do. Is I feel like the last 3 years they've just fucking exploded.
Yeah.
The first month of the season.
All right, and this takes us into such a wonderful game. Carolina at New Orleans.
What a game.
Yeah, woof. I think this is going to be the snooze fest. If you are either in Carolina or New Orleans, turn your television to a different game because this is going to suck. I'm going to go 17-10. Saints.
I think the Saints are going to be really bad this year.
Yeah.
That is one of my teams that I think they're not going to be good. And with that being said, I think they're going to start 0-1, and the Carolina Panthers are going to come in there and get a win and get as many wins as they had all of last year.
Wow.
And start off 1-0, and they are going to win this game 20-17.
Wow. I hope so.
Wow.
For the sake of
I love that pick.
So they can get off the ledge. Like just step off and take a breath.
I love that pick. Yeah.
I like it.
Only reason I'm picking the Saints is because this is at New Orleans. I'm going to pick them 20-17 in the game no one will watch.
Might be a record low. That takes us to Minnesota in New York against the Lonely Giants. Not too much to talk about on the Giants side with Danny Dimes at leading the charge there for them. Vikings do pull this off. Sam Darnold looks all right. I think he has his moments. I'm going to say 2 touchdowns, 1 pick for Darnold. The Vikings pull this one off. Let's say 17-13. They probably win as time expires. Otherwise, they would have lost it.
Vikings fans already are going to talk about how much they love Aaron Jones after this game and how he's a fan favorite, all because he's a Packer and, you know, he knows how to win games. So we're going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game 24-9.
Whoa!
To 9.
Vikings haven't won a game by double digits in years.
They're going to 24-9. Giants are going to have 3 field goals. Everybody's going to be calling for Danny Dimes' head because he can't throw the ball, and he can't get the ball to anybody but Malik Neighbors.
Dude, I am going to drink my head off if that happens in celebratory fashion. That is going to be great.
The Giants. Just relax. The Giants.
But to win a game by double digits where I'm not on the edge of my seat with 2 minutes left in the game, that is why I'm celebrating. Just the fact that I can sit back and be like, we literally can't lose this.
It's going to be 17-9. And it's going to be about 5 minutes left, and Jones is going to bust a big runoff for a touchdown.
That'd be fun.
Nice 25-yarder.
I love it.
I'm going to go with the Vikings at home as well. And I think
They're away. They're in New York.
Oh, they're in New York?
New York.
Okay, that doesn't really matter. Anyway, I think they're going to win either way.
Just not by his
and I think the talk on Monday is going to be about Sam Darnold and how well he played in this game. So I am going to take the Vikings to win 24-20, and I expect Sam Darnold to have 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, and they get the win.
Like it. That takes us to our first 3 o'clock game here. The Las Vegas Raiders in LA against the Chargers. The Raiders do not, unfortunately, have anybody at quarterback. All right. Like Gardner Minshew is fun. He's exciting. Because that's just who
he's got a weapon to throw to. He's got Bowers.
Yeah, he's got to give him the ball. That's the question mark, right? So I think Harbaugh comes in there, gives a good show for the fans there. I think the Chargers pull this one off. I'm gonna go 27-14.
I'm gonna go 23-17 Chargers.
I'm gonna go 24-14 Chargers. I think this is a classic Jim Harbaugh game. He's just going to pound the shit out of the ball. But Herbert will have like 2 touchdowns passing, and that's my prediction.
I love it. Hell yeah. Next game we got is Denver at Seattle. Denver has Nix is the starting quarterback. His name is starting quarterback. However, I don't think he's going to be ready yet for this game. I don't think he's not going to have everything figured out. As much as I don't like the Seahawks, and I don't think the Seahawks will do anything as long as Geno Smith is their quarterback, they will still win this game, or the Broncos, just because of over experience at this point. I'm going to go probably 23-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seahawks just because they're at home. And like you said, rookie on the road, first start. Give me the Seahawks 27-17.
I do like the Seahawks. I think they will have a pretty good year this year. Just miss the playoffs is my prediction. But I think they will win this game. I'm going to pick them to win 28-14.
Next game we got here, the Dallas Cowboys in Cleveland against the Browns. I think this one's gonna be closer than people think too. I mean, but it all depends on the play of Deshaun Watson. I'll say how he goes in there and performs. But I'm gonna give the edge to the Cowboys here. I will say they will win 30-21.
Which one are we doing?
Cowboys at the Browns.
Cowboys at the Browns. This one's actually going to be a really good one. Give me the Cowboys to win on the road right away. They're going to come out and just score more points than Deshaun Watson's capable of scoring. We're going to go 27-20.
I think this will be a really good game. Competitive, back and forth, high scoring. I'm going to go 30-28. Cowboys win.
This next one I have some interest. Washington Commanders in Tampa Bay. I'm curious to see what Jaden does. Curious to see what he does. I think they're going to be one of those fun question marks throughout the season. You don't know where to pick them, kind of thing. Are they going to win? They're going to lose? Not really sure. But I think he's going to really have some shining moments. However, with that being said, I'm still going to pick the Bucks just because they're a little more consistent. Not too much turnover for roster wise since last year. So this team already knows their potential. Mike Evans is probably going to have a touchdown, of course. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Bucks with we'll go 24-20 for the Commanders.
Yeah, give me the Buccaneers to win this game 20 to 13.
I like the Bucks. All the reasons you mentioned, Lee, the consistency of the roster, the veteran leadership they have with Baker. I think he's an underrated quarterback. And Evans and Godwin, it's a good duo they have there. Defense always plays hard, plays well. I do think Jaden Daniels is going to be a star in this league. I like him a lot. So anyway, it's his first game. I like the Buccaneers to win 23-17.
All right, that takes us into the Sunday night game here. We got the Rams at the Lions here.
Damn, this will be a good one.
Purely because it is in Detroit, I am going to favor the Lions here. I agree with Winch. I think this is going to be a good game here. I think it could go different ways. I think, honestly, it could be anyone's game, but the fact that it's in Detroit, I'm going to give the Lions the edge here. I think for Monday night wise, we can all be hopeful. It's going to be 30-23. Who's that?
That's a Jared Goff Rams fucking signature helmet. Battle of his former team, huh? Rematch from last year. I believe they played, right?
Yep.
Play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Playoffs.
And it looks like it's in Detroit again. So I'm going to give
Correcto.
the upper hand to Detroit based on that alone. I think it's going to be a raucous crowd once again. They're going to be loud, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be fun to watch, but give me the Lions to win this game 30-27.
Damn you. Literally almost had the same exact score again. I like the Lions to win 31-27. I think the Lions at home are a really difficult team to beat. I love Dan Campbell, love the organization. They're just the people that they've drafted are just so fun. They represent the city well. If you watch receiver, Amon-Ra's my favorite guy. Guy's a fucking dog. I love everything about him. So, I predict that they're going to have a really good season this year, and it starts on week 1 with a win over the Rams, 31-27.
I love it. All right, and that takes us into our Monday night game. The New York Jets go against the San Francisco.
Don't tear your Achilles.
Yeah, go against the San Francisco 49ers, which the guy that tackled Rodgers to tear his Achilles is now playing for the San Francisco 49ers. So
That'd be poetic justice.
This would be a good one. He tears that up. That would be pretty tragic for Jets fans.
And it was on Monday night, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, my God. You can't make this up.
That's what I'm saying.
Man.
That'd be fucking.
Remember, I was in the drive-thru of the Chick-fil-A listening to the broadcast and all. Oh, Rodgers goes down right away.
Yeah.
I was in Ohio at our property there, and I was watching it on a big screen outside, and there was a bunch of fans, and they're just like, what has happened? And I just watched the replay, and I'm like, he's done. You could see it just pop.
Yeah, I remember joking about it with Travis because we were talking about the compensation pick it would be if Rodgers played or whatever, and
yeah. And then fourth play, done.
Watch him get hurt in this game or something like that, and it fucking happened, and my jaw dropped. I was like, no way, and especially like it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. He just, because he just like laid down, sat down like shit, and we're just like. Nah, he'll be back like next week or something, like just wild chain of events there. But yeah, 49ers, I'm taking them easy in this one. They're just going to be angry dogs after that Super Bowl loss. So they are going to come out with a vengeance once again. But hopefully Rodgers stays healthy in this game. We get to see the Jets at possibly their peak form. even though it'll be a loss to the 49ers here. I think it's going to be a fun game nonetheless. So I will take the 49ers here. Let's go 31-24.
I'm going to go 49ers as well. I just think it's going to be too much for the Jets to overcome on the road, all that stuff going on. With the Niners getting all their guys back, Trent Williams just signed. You got Ayuk that just signed. McCaffrey's practicing. Everything's trending all onward and upward for the Niners. They're going to roll in this one. Give me the Niners 27-17.
I like the Niners as well. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring game, 23-20.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that is our pick'ems for week 1 of the NFL, the 2024 season. And, man, it feels good to get started. We got football on Thursday, Friday, all day Sunday, and Monday. And just college football all day Saturday. You can spend days and days and days of football, and it is great to be in the season of such the great sport. So, with that being said, boys, I think we can wrap this one up here. I think it was a real good one. I think we had some really good discussions here, and look forward to the next one. And with that being said, that's the last I heard.
Peace.
Peace. Great to be back, boys.